everybody. Hope you're all doing well. Here we are with another, I guess, goggles tutorial. I don't know how good it's going to be, but I'm going to try and um, show you what I do for mods, and in particular, this is going to focus on map mods. Excuse me, but I'll show you how I do my mod order as well, and I'll see if I can provide some links. Excuse me. Oh man, had my breakfast too fast. Anyway, we'll start with the maps, and we'll show you the whole mod order and the mod manager, how to get things working. I've got over 90 mods in this profile, and I typically, for single profile, single player, I'm usually running anywhere from 80 to 110 mods, and the videos you guys see are always around there, always in the around the 100 range in terms of mods. Bear in mind, there's going to be usually anywhere from 8 to 16 skins in there, because I usually run 2 trucks per profile, and a boatload of trailers. And if they're, some trailers take, like, if it's Bart's or somebody, and you have several of them, they're several files each. And if that TK360 Trail King, that thing's got like 6 files, so that adds to the total of mods. And then depending on the trucks, if they're John Ruda trucks, you got a lot of files. If they're like the K100, it's a single file, so that affects the number of mods quite a bit. But anyway, let's get on to the maps. And so this is the current profile that you've been seeing me run a whole bunch lately. And now that we've got the latest updates from Team Reforma, the area around Sacramento is working correctly now. And if you look on the map, all the roads are connected. Is up until just recently, there's a big break here, another one over here somewhere, and you can see them on the map. Like if the map's broken, and you come into your map, and you see roads not connecting, you got a problem. Another area that's prone to issues with the Reforma is south of Tucson, and it's all fixed and working. So let's look at what we've got here on the map before we lose this screen. So we go up to the top here, we've got Alaska, and this is quite a journey. This is I did a video from Prudhoe Bay down to Wasilla. It was 4 parts. That's how long that takes, and it's a good one though. It's worth doing. I've got to do this video here. I'm gonna do this route, maybe to Glen Allen or all the way to Valdez. So it depends what I can get for a load. But anyway, that's Alaska. We go back down to the mainland. We got another ferry route here. This one takes us to Hawaii. So we got the Hawaii or Pacific Islands map, and it's kind of cool. It's nicely done. Like, it's not a huge map, but the scenery and the vegetation and everything that they put around, you can almost smell the tropical atmosphere. So we'll take the ferry here back to Los Angeles. It's a long way. And this is the ferry terminal in Los Angeles. And so that's the Hawaii one. So we've looked at Alaska, Hawaii. We also just we'll jump up to ProMods Canada, and that adds all of this. And just for the record, that's southeast or western British Columbia, and I live right about here in Calgary, Alberta. So this is all getting close, and these are all areas that I know reasonably well. And getting there someday. Just as a side note, there's a fella making, if you're using Canada Dream map mod, there's a fella that's connecting it to Alaska, so you can drive the mainland up, and which is pretty neat. I don't use Canada Dream. I find the detail just not quite there for me, and the coast to coast, I don't like it either. It's just like, well, it's like maybe it's just so plain and nothing to look at. So this fellow is going to make one. Apparently, it's in the works. He's already got a route planned out for connecting Promonts, Canada up to Alaska. So that's what I'm waiting for. But anyway, this is a super good, high quality map mod. If you haven't tried it, it's well worth it. The scenery is really, really good. The ambient noises, the local, birds and whatever, you get out of the truck at any point, or even if you're fairly quiet at the moment in the truck, you can hear the nature sounds outside are just well done. Everything's really, it's top notch. It's a top notch map. Uh, Excellent. And anyway, so that's there. Now we've got a whole bunch of stuff in here, and we'll go look at this. Middle Fork Nooksack, and this is called the Bellingham Heights Improvement. And so many are probably familiar with the lumber logging site here. And in the default map, there's the back way up here to that logging site. That's a hidden road, and you can unhide it in 144 now. But you usually just have the front door in here by default. Well, all of this other stuff is added. And there's a home shop here, garage. We'll go look at it. And a dirt road out to here that joins into this logging road. And the back door, there's all kinds of businesses down here near your home. And they added in some stuff here, like a Liebherr, or that would be an HMS in the default game. There's a service center up here at a nice plateau with a view. We'll go look at that. And this ties in to that backdoor logging road here. So when you jump on this road right here, you get on a dirt road that comes around and joins this one, which is the back door up to the logging site. It's kind of cool. So we can look at that too. And then we have Montana, which is, let's see, where's the border here? Goes around up to Sandpoint, across, down. So there's a whole bunch of stuff in Montana, and this is really neat, really nicely done. The terrain changes are really good. The elevation changes, the rolling nature of the landscape is really good out here in eastern Montana. And then it gets into the more mountainous stuff over here. This is where I landed my truck. We're going to start off in Kalispell, have a quick look around there. Lone Pine Mountain is a pretty neat site, and it's got another road out of there that you can take that's not shown on the map here. Yeah, and so what it does is, in the default map, you can go to salmon or get a load up to salmon, but there's nothing else. Well, here you've got a road that comes down from, I believe, Missoula. We took this the other day, and that's a really nice drive too. You got another from Missoula. You can get into Grangeville. You can go to Coeur d'Alene. From up here in Kalispell, you got another road into Sandpoint. So you have all these connectors here. You can go from Bozeman down to Jackson, Sheridan, up to Hardin or Billings, and Gillette. You can head over to Deadwood and Rapid City, which is pretty neat. And from Cheyenne, you can go into, this would be, let me think now, Nebraska. And yeah, pretty neat. So this is Great America now over here. And what that gives us is South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, and Iowa. And there's a bunch of stuff in here. And this fellow, Voith, who does this, Great America, is a busy guy. And he works hard for the patronage that he gets. He's always at it. He's always improving stuff. You go back and do a trip you haven't done in a while, and he revisits the original areas of the map, and he's constantly working and upgrading and expanding. And he's also the guy who did the Washington expansion. So it adds some small roads here and there in Washington. He's got the Oregon one that we've seen lately. It was his most recent expansion where he added this road 26 because by default the map SCS comes down from I believe it's the Dales up there or Pendleton, yeah, comes down. You get to the town of John Day and it jogs and goes down. Well, he's added this right through to here, and which is kind of neat. And let's see, that's Oregon, and he's got Utah that he added. And in Utah, you've got to zoom, get the right distance. So Coucheram, Hanksville, Escalante, Bryce, Bullfrog, all of this has been added, and it's really, really nice, uh, nicely done. So, and there's a bunch of loads and businesses in here and things to do that are added by Voith in that map mod. And then I've got Project Better Arizona, which adds a pretty scenic trip through here to Sholo. It adds this trip through the Prescott National Forest or whatever, which is weird that it's called forest because the trees are pretty stunted, but it's kind of cool. And then they put in this little. There is a business here. This is in the default game. Once again, it'd be HMS in the default game. But they added this length of Route 66 to Kingman. So that's been added as part of Project Better Arizona. And then we get into the big elephant in the room, the big enchilada, if you want to call it that, the Team Reforma map, which has got a big chunk of Mexico and a whole bunch of stuff in California and a bit touching Arizona. So you can see there's just a ton of stuff here, and this is all super well done too. Um, there's a lot of big roads out here, and the big interstate, and you can just get on that thing and go at a pretty good rate of knots. And then you've got a lot of stuff in the twisties, mining sites, machinery, forestry, and some of these roads are just insane, but probably really representative of the mountainous regions in Mexico. So a lot of fun. Uh, this is a good place for like double trailers and short doubles. Like I guess they're 28s. It's a good trailer to take in here, and maybe a shorter wheelbase truck. And if you're out on the eastern side, you can get back into the big trucks. Although I'm nuts. I'll go in here with a long wheelbase truck just for giggles. Um, Another nice thing here is this road through Mazatlan. If you want to come down to this area here and grab a load that takes this road here, and if you can see, ignore all of this really windy stuff. That's at this point city streets above, and you go through a tunnel, come out the other side, and you take this essentially an interstate. And it's not insane, but it is so scenic, it is unbelievable as it goes through mountain ranges and gorges and tunnels and bridges, and super well done, really well done. If you can get a load from either Mazatlan or down here, there's Acapulco someplace down here. Oh, San Blas, yeah, if you can get a load out of there, going to El Salto, you won't regret it. It is just spectacular, and it's not insane. You're not going to be on all of this, wobbly road. You're going to be on a bigger one, but super good. You got the Baja Peninsula, and you can take a ferry over from various places if you want. You can go to Cabo San Lucas and head up the Baja Peninsula. It's pretty neat, uh, quite enjoyable. Uh, there's Bahia Tortuga in here. Some pretty neat stuff. Lots of cactus and things at the appropriate places where it should be. And this is a nice little road too, El Rosario to Ensenada. That's a good little trip. And this is once again a little bit windier than some of the other roads. A little windier than this side if you get to Mexicali. And this brings us to what Reforma changes in California, and it's a lot. There's a whole bunch in California that they do. And let's see if we can get a right range on here to see it. So we've got like Glamis, Holtville, Brawley, Indio, Blythe, all of these things added down here. Yuma is drastically changed. It's quite a bit different and well detailed in the Reforma map. It's not as kind of cookie cutter as it is in the default game. I wonder if it's at the end of this. It doesn't show anything there. Interesting. Anyway, it's really nice. So then further changes in California. They start further north. And we get into Lone Pine, Bishop. And this is quite a route here. If you can get a load down here. There's a Lennar in the middle of it. And if you can get a load from this Lennar to that one or whatever, that's a good trip because this is very hilly. It's a challenging drive, especially if you're driving a stick because there's lots of gear changes on a slope. So if you want to challenge yourself, take a heavy haul on this route and you'll see if you got the shifting working or not. It's a good challenge. There's another site in here that all of this really is really good. And the changes come in as far as Tonopah. It's quite, this is different than the default roads. You've got this added down to Bishop. Lee Vining is added. It's in right here on the border of California and Nevada. Carson City's all different. Reno has got some different stuff in it. It's a lot of the default Reno, but you've got roads added that you don't have in the default map. Let's go back down here and work our way north. From Fresno, you've got a trip up to Yosemite Valley or vice versa if you want. Very, very nice road, really well done. And it looks pretty wobbly here, but it's not insane. It's a good scenic trip and lots of effort put into it. You can head north out of Yosemite, go to Oakdale. We did this trip the other day in one of the videos. And you can see this is that downhill section with all the wobbles in it. You can get to, let's see, what else do we have here? And this would be quite a trip over here to this Lee Vining. I gotta remember, I'm sure I've done that one at some point. And here's another one of my favorites, Sonora. And what I do, I'll quick travel to Sonora. And I don't think I've only had maybe one job out of here, out of this Walmart. But this Walmart here, you get a lot of jobs out of here, and you get them heading on this route here up over the Sonora Pass and back down the other side. And I've got a couple videos out of that. And in fact, one of my very early videos, we stop about here because it took that long to get there that, it was time to quit. And it was on I think it was a Turnpike double flat deck behind the KSW 352. And like a dummy, I had the 8V92 in it with no jig brakes, so pretty hard on the brakes coming down this side of the mountain. And we got South Lake Tahoe here, and this is Lake Tahoe's in here, and really nicely done. You've got a home garage here, lots of, there's potential businesses and loads out of here, which is good. Then we can get over to Sacramento, and what they've done is they used to have Sacramento, their own kind of version of it with Team Reforma, but they've reverted to the default. This is the default Sacramento. Here's that business park that you can drive into here. The gate's right there for, I can't remember the name of it. This business park with it. We've been in here in a video, which is kind of neat. I got to get in there a few more times. And you got a nice road out of here to South Lake Tahoe. and I've got to try that. I don't remember going on that one recently. But what's different is Sacramento to Truckee. Instead of just being this nice trip out and you're there, it's got this route, and we've taken it in a video up through this way, and that's pretty scenic too. And yeah, Susanville is there, of course, and they add Red Bluff, and Red Bluff is awesome in that it's got this really beautiful drive here, and another really scenic, well done drive. Thing here, if you quick travel to Red Bluff, and you want to go pick up a load over here at this would be HMS, and this would be what do they call it? Rail Export or Union Pacific, if you got the real place names, or Wahlberg, or what is it? Walmart. Well, whatever they call Walmart. Um, if you're here and you quick travel here, and your destination is over here, it's going to send you off this way all over the place instead of bringing you. So just pull out of here, do a U-turn. It's just the goofiest thing. So just a little warning there. What else do they have here? I think that's about it for the Reforma changes here, but it's big. Reforma is a lot of stuff. Oh yeah, sorry. Fallon and Austin and Eureka and this whole area, the road from Reno to Elko is all new and much better. It's much more representative of the actual highway and doesn't have that goofy sharp corner right here before Reno that's not very realistic for an interstate. This is much more interstate-like. Um, and you've got from Winnemucca a really cool drive down to these businesses here. If you get this southern BHP or coastline mining, if you get a trip down to here, this is a gravel road that's really neat through here and pretty scenic. So this is all added. It's all new. There's dirt roads in here. Um, so lots, kind of adventure open to you if you want to take them. So Reforma offers an awful lot. Now Reforma, once again, it's a Patreon map, uh, and if you want, you don't need to pay for it, but you can get the one version out of date maps for free. So you don't necessarily need to pony up. And but I mean, it's if you're into maps, it's the map. It's got so much. I go just to discover all this. I've driven a good chunk of Mexico and other profiles, but obviously 144 has just come along and I've created a bunch of new profiles for it. So I haven't been too many places yet in Mexico, um, but that'll change. And anyway, so let's look at what all of this looks like and how do you get it. So where do I get all these maps? Well, what I do is we'll get out to the desktop here. Let's go. There's on Discord. There's some fellows. They run a site called GMC Logistics, and I'll show you that on Discord. So here it is on Discord, and they have a link to like I have. They have a link to my Discord, and they'll update. I think they put it in general. Oh, where did they put it? Oh, Mod Convoy. Here we go. So they just link in, and when they update their PDF file for their mod order, it automatically comes to my Discord too. So if you want to join my Discord, ask or whatever, and I can send you a link. Or what I can do is I can update the PDF, and I'll put a link to the PDF on my Google Drive, and I'll try and keep it up to date. So I'll show you what that PDF does for you. Oh, by the way, these guys, so you can see if we're on their site. Let's go back here, and we're current combo ATS is the page we're on. If you're into ETS, there's a current combo ETS page. But what they do is when there's updates to either maps or game versions, they have a bunch of guys. I've done it for them once or twice, where I'd go and help them test, and they tell you what to put in a special profile you're going to use for testing, and you go out, you just drive and look for errors and report them back, and they report back to the guys who are doing the maps, and they coordinate the repairs needed to make everything work. And when it's working, they'll go current combo ATS, and there it'll be. So then, of course, they load it to my site. This is the current Great America one. This is the one I use. This one is C2C with the Discover Ontario, and this one is I believe the Canada Dream, yeah. And I don't use either of those. I just got my hands full with this one. And so the value of these guys, I'll show you here, is here's the current PDF. When you have this, this is the key to everything. So I do a background map as per them. And in this case, we're using the ProMods Pacific and North America background map. And that gives us those links to Alaska and Hawaii. In particular Hawaii. If you use just the background map for North and Central America, you don't get the Hawaii link. So you click on the link here. These are live links. It takes you to Steam, subscribe, and there you go. It's that easy to use their PDF. So let's go back. I don't use any of these. I go, and I'm using the Bellingham Heights one, which is in a previous version. And they haven't tested it yet, but I'm using it successfully. So you would start with ProMods Canada, and these are in the order you put them in your mod folder, and I'll show you that. So they start, if we were following this without the Bellingham Heights, it would be ProMods. Here, if you're going to use single player, you use the ProMods Canada definition pack you create when you download your ProMods, or you can do this link. It'll take you to Steam, and you can use the convoy mode support. And then we can go down Radiator Springs. I have it, but don't use it. Now we've got, if you want, so the Mega Resources Great America patch for Great America. You want to get that, click on it, and you can go in here and do the download. And the downside to this one, it's one of these ones where you create a download link, and you got to watch what you click on. Like, it can get you in a bunch of trouble. You create the download link, it's going to, it'll take all these different websites and stuff. You got to be careful what you're clicking on if you're going to use it. Just a word of caution, don't click on anything you're not sure of. So I already have it, so we're not going to do it. Let's get back to the here. Great America. If you want that, let's click on it. And this is Voith, and he's a Patreon guy, so you're going to have to do the Patreon thing with him. And you can choose your tier, how long you want to do it, whatever. And yeah. So, but if you want all of that South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, Iowa, Minnesota, and the expansions, he's got those 3 expansion maps. And like I say, the guy works his heart out. He's a good dude. So this is all his stuff here. Great America, Oregon, Washington, Utah. That's all Voith. Now we've got a patch for the, this is the LA Ferry Terminal, which is the cruise terminal. This is where you embark for your LA to Hawaii. And so if you want to get these maps, oh, excuse me. You can, oh, sorry about that. Wow. You can, do a slow download or a premium download. You can, you can pay for that, but it's not very big, so it's your choice. So that can be free. It is free by default. And then you'll get there. You can get all of this stuff: cruise terminal, the Pacific map depth, map models. You got Project Better Arizona. This is what we're looking at down there with that Route 66 and the that nice road up to Sholo from Tucson. And depending which one, if you're going to use Reforma map, you would choose this one. If you're going to use no Reforma, you just want this standalone, use this lower link. Then your Reforma compatibility patch. And these things, just click on them. Like I say, all these links are live. This takes you to Truckee. And if you're a member on Truckee, you don't even need to log in, I don't think. I'm not logged in here. You just go down here and click the download button. And what I do with all these downloads, they go into my download folder. I say save as, and I put them in. I'll show you what I do is map mods, and I have a bunch of folders in here for the various map mods. So they go in here, and then what I try and do is every now and then go in here and take the old ones out just to save space on the drive. I usually leave the previous version and the current version and try and delete the older ones. So, what else? Montana expansion. Oh, here's Reforma, of course. And you can do Reforma without Mexico. There's a version, I think it's just called Sierra Nevada. But I mean, I'm totally into the Mexico thing. It's a lot of fun, and it's just people say, oh, I'm bored with the game, whatever. Well, get this and go down to Mexico and tell me you're bored. It's pretty neat. Montana expansion. Once again, Truckee. Download, off you go. And the order, light urban overhaul, just does minor fixes and updates to the various elements of the game. And there's Alaska North to the Future. This is a one-time purchase. So you purchase this and you're good for, as long as you're going to play the game. You get the updates, and pretty good dudes. They're working hard on it. So, but yeah, everything you want to play, you got to pay. It's the way it is. Now, at the end of this are these Steam launch options. And this is based on the amount of memory you have. If you have 8 gigabit, 16, or 32, you take, copy, and paste this, and you go to your Steam homepage here, right-click American Truck Simulator Properties, Launch Options, and paste it in here. So, and this is it'll give you the quick launch so you don't go through that splash screen and waiting for that to do its thing. And it changes your buffer sizes based on the amount of memory you have, so your game is going to run optimally based on the amount of memory you have. So that's super good. Where was I? Ooh, I got out of the document. So we'll go back into here. So yeah, I have 32 gigabits. So I use this one, and you're going to find that this does improve your performance of the game quite a bit. And one final thing while we're on this document is this is the load order, as you're going to see in your profile, your mod manager. You're going to want, if you leave something out, like I'm going to leave Radiator Springs out, you would see no Radiator Springs. So after ProMods Canada, it'd have the Great American, Mega Resources, etc. These expansions. And I have all of those. And that's the load order. Stick with it. Don't deviate from this. Or, have you ever tried map mods and wondered, you're trying to mess around with it and you don't know what the load order is, and your game will crash to the desktop, almost guaranteed, if you're not following this closely, or you'll have crashes during the game, or you just have problems. So let's get out of here, go into the game, look at the mod manager. And this is what I'm going to do here. Well, let's just jump to the bottom initially and we'll just show you. So here we are with, I see I've got, oh, look at that right away there. He's got this. I'm going to put it above there, just see what happens. That's where he has it in the his document. Here's another one. I've got the US 24 extension in here. That's US 24 east and west of Colorado Springs in Colorado. So that's a little map mod there that I've got included in here. I forgot to show you. And here's the Bellingham uh, map improvements, Bellingham Heights fix for Pro Mods. So you got to have that in there. And then you have the SCS map improvements base, SCS map improvements Bellingham Heights. And if you're interested in trying those, what I could do is get a link to that PDF file as well, as I'm putting a I'd have to put it up in my Google Drive for you, but yeah, let me know if you want to try it. So as you can see, uh, this is a specific order that works. This is the order based on what's on the PDF. So you just do everything in that same order. You're going to be okay. And let's look at the overall mod load order. That's what we'll do first before we do anything. Confirm changes. 98 mods. Okay. And the game's working fine. So if you follow the rules of mods, you're not going to have problems. Now the other thing too is just look at my mod, this description of this profile. It's just the FLX and the K100. Don't put a whole bunch of trucks in a mod or a profile and expect to have no problems with it. And I have that video. I'll put a link in here on how to clone profiles. So this is a good profile. It works great. It's got 98 mods in it or whatever. I would copy this profile and like say I want to make one. I'm gonna do this sometime later today. Is I got the update of the Superliner from Dealing, where you got the view at the back now. And actually this time around, I actually ponied up and threw him a few bucks for it. And because I mean, pretty good truck for free, and he put a lot of effort into it. And he isn't charging for his R700 sleeper add-on for Harvin's Mac, so for the Mac R. So I thought I'd help him out. So anyway, I'm going to create a Mac profile. I'm going to just duplicate this one, rename it, so I don't have a whole bunch of trucks in one profile, and that just allows you to have all these mods without conflicts, because these guys are pretty notorious for borrowing parts from each other's trucks. And if they do that, you're going to get into, you get two trucks that have borrowed parts in the same profile, you're going to have crashes or parts missing off trucks, or you look at them, they just don't look right, or things are missing off them. So mod profile, mod order. So I'm using the Pro Mods Complete North America background map here. And then I have all my JPX graphics. Now, if you're not using JPX graphics, just jump right to your sound mods. Now, this map mod has to be on the top. In your mod load order in the game, so when the game loads, it doesn't just magically start everything. It starts loading from the bottom of your mod load order, and it works its way up to the top. So it's going to load this, and this, all of this stuff. Then it's going to load the trucks, and it's going to load the trailers, and it's going to load, I have it loading skins next. The skins doesn't really matter. You could put the skins at the top. I don't think it matters. And but then the skins, and I have things like sissels, which directly affect the trucks and trailers, trucks mostly. The wheels for both would come next. Then I put I call this environmental things, like the game environment. And so the classic AI traffic pack, which you see me use all the time, the classic truck. realistic AI behavior, which only helps a little bit. CMOD's air fresher. Now the lights, if you're looking at Bart's instructions for loading his stuff, he's got the lights with his trailer. Well, I don't. I put them all in the same place. So here's the Bart's trailers down here, and I put his lights up here. I put all the lights in this area of the above wheels. So the lights for the KSW light pack are in here. This is a pay mod, but worth it. I've got so many lights in it. It's great. You can really tailor your truck. So if I had John Ruta's trailers in here, I'd have the flare pack, he calls it, right here. I usually put it beneath Bart's. And if I had John Ruta's trailers, I would have his truck and trailer wheels underneath Smarty's right in between here. I don't put them with the trailers. I don't put them with the trucks. And guys are going to say, you got to put my trucks at the top of the mod order or at the bottom, or you got to do this now. Ignore it. Put the mods in the same order. So if you've got, I don't think I have any complex trucks in here, unfortunately. No, they're all simple trucks. Well, here's the def above the truck, and that's the case. So if you got the Roland truck and you got 5 or 6 files to load, use his order that he's suggesting, but put it above your maps and below your trailers. Don't have Roland's trucks at the top of your, don't put Roland's trucks up here if that's what he's saying to do, or John Ruda says put his up here. Don't. Put them above the maps. And then they're going to be the second thing that gets loaded when the game's starting. They're going to work. They're not going to miss anything. The truck will pick up the wheels here. The truck's going to pick up the lights here as it's getting built and it gets loaded into the game. It's going to get its transmissions. And lastly, it's going to get its sound files that it needs to run. And then the game's going to start. You got your overall map and your truck is put together with everything in the right order. And it's going to work just fine. So getting back to this, then I have things like no roadblocks, triples, doubles. So I call this all environmental still. And I even load, the lights, they're all in there. Real advertisements, real companies, gas stations, and then these things that are a physical change to the trailer or truck, I put these right underneath sounds. So the real Eaton Fuller transmissions, I always put it right here. This is the cast add-on, which is a mod where you can add 16 trucks that aren't included here, and you can add your own 16 trucks here. And that has to be above this one. It's kind of like the same way you treat an open def, where an open def is above the actual mod. So when the game's loading, it comes in here and it picks up the actual file, the Steam version or whoever's, then it sees the mod to it. You don't want it to see the mod to it first. If this was under here, underneath this one, it wouldn't know what to do with this because it doesn't have a reference. So when it comes up and loading and it goes, oh, here's this mod, okay, oh, this is in reference to this because it just loaded this one first and then it loaded that one. And we got the sound fixes pack. This is a Steam mod. You see here, and what it does is it gives you all those cool sounds and some fixed traffic sounds and the sound of the refueling when you're at the fuel stop. You hear the rattle of the cap and everything, and put the pump nozzle back in the pump. You hear them get in the truck, shut the door. You hear the seat belt, the keys. So if you're patient, you'll hear that. If you fuel up and just start your truck and drive away, you'll be you won't hear all those sounds. Oh, and then I got a bunch of Z mods, engine mods here, and as I was saying, the sound file below the open def for each one. And I have all of these open defs give me my hopped up motors that I make for Z-Mod. And these are all on my Discord as well. And I put my interior sound effect packs. So there's the Peterbilt one and the Kenworth one for the Peterbilt and the Kenworth. then the air brake, road, wind, weather, terrain. These don't have to be in that specific order, but I always put them in above the engines, below the GPS voice mod, which is the top sound mod, then JBX, and the background map. So you'll have success if you do this way. It's going to work. So we jump back out and we go to, I don't know how long, I should wrap this video up. I was going to show you some stuff flying around, but I think the video is going to be long enough as it is. You can see in the videos, if you care to look at or browse through them, you'll see a whole bunch of these mods in action. So I think that's a better way to leave it instead of boring you with that. Now, if you have any questions, I'd appreciate you just ask them down below. I'm going to put a link in this video to the PDF file. So hopefully you can, if it works, or if it doesn't work, let me know. We'll fix it. But so you can get these, you can see the mod load order from the PDF, and you can get the, has the links to all of the mods you want to look at, and that way you can you'll be good to go with your adventure into maps. And don't fear it. These guys are working hard. Trust me. Best guys out there. I can't believe how, this is just, it's free. They work so hard. They love the game so much. And they put so much into it. They give into the game a lot. And what they get out of it, I guess, is the satisfaction of knowing they're helping you out. And they don't need to do this, but they do. And before I found these guys, I was having so much trouble with maps, and the game would break and everything, and I just swore off. I said, oh, I'll just never touch maps again. And then a friend introduced me to this site. I got this and started using these their guidelines here and links, and found all this stuff, and the game has not been the same since. It's just a whole new world. So big thanks to Marion at GMC Great America. These guys are epic. So with that, I'm going to sign off, and hopefully you get a chance to experiment with this, have a little bit of fun with it, enjoy some a new look to your game, and get a whole new enjoyment and appreciation for it. So thanks again, guys. Appreciate you watching. And if you haven't, consider subscribing. And if you have, thanks very much. And we'll catch you on the next one. Bye for now.